Hey, this is the Goblin King, and welcome back to this week's Pop Culture Breakdown, the segment where I do my utmost to break down some of the biggest pop culture headlines from over the week into bite-sized chunks for your enjoyment, while adding in my own supposedly witty takes at the same time. Last week's would have been a fun segment, but I fucked up the editing of my audio, and I'm pretty sure not a single person could hear me. Not even the single person who watches my stuff. Ha! Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get into this thing. Just lie back and think of England. It'll be over soon. So our first story from Monday, we have two, is the much celebrated and maligned tale of Marsha Lucas. Yes, Jeremy, it's Marsha. It's just a different way of spelling it. George Lucas' ex-wife, who was slamming Darth Kennedy and Jar Jar Abrams for how they handled the sequel trilogy, in specific, their handling of the legacy characters of Han, Luke, and Leia. In the article from IndieWire, she's quoted as stating that neither Darth Kennedy nor Jar Jar understand Star Wars, and that she was furious at the killing off of Han and Luke. This woman is based as fuck. Unfortunately, there's no real punchline here, except the sequel trilogy. Our second story from Monday is about the absolutely harrowing experience that celebrities have with the goof. I'm sure you all remember the Met Gala and all the rich and famous people parading around without their masks, with all their little helpers behind their face shields. It was no different for the Emmys this last week. We had all the glitz and glamour and maskless celebrities parading around in their dresses that cost more than my car. Meanwhile, the dutiful peons standing around to clean up after them with their face coverings, acting as a badge to display their social status. Many took to Twitter in outrage over this. Meanwhile, the celebrities merely asserted their desire that they'd always wanted a way to keep the pores from breathing on them. Was Cedric the Entertainer ever really relevant? Also, Seth Rogen is a douche canoe. We also have two stories coming out for Tuesday. You'll see what I did there in a minute. The first one is the tale of Cassandra Peterson, also known by all horny man boys who grew up in the 80s and 90s as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I think I'd actually honestly say that Elvira was my first true Hollywood crush as a kid. I thought that dubious honor went to Christina Ricci, but nah, it was totally Elvira. Anywho, it seems that Elvira's come out in her recently dropped memoirs. Apparently, she's been with another lady now for the last 19 years, and is only just coming out because she worried about her brand. I mean, I suppose that's fair, but I can honestly say it doesn't affect how I've always seen Elvira. If she's happy, she's happy. Again, can't really seem to make a joke for this one, except current Star Wars. That shit is always funny, in a sad, sad way. The second article for Tuesday comes right on the heels of our Monday's story regarding the Emmys week. We have a look at our first article for Tuesday speaking about LA counties defending celebrities not wearing their masks. Now, because the state of Los Angeles loves their ruling class celebrities so much, they found a wonderful legal loophole to sleaze their way through, stating that the Emmys are considered to be a television production, with the celebrities considered to be performers. Therefore, they didn't have to abide by any sort of mask mandates or goof restrictions or anything, and everyone celebrated and cheered. Since we all know that the virus can discern between a television production and just everyday life, when asked for comment, the state of Los Angeles could only say, "It's science, people. Come on, man." Again, there are two stories coming out of Wednesday, with the first one being about that pillar of awesome that is Johnny Depp. Johnny seems to be one more in a glacially slow, growing list of people who are willing to speak out against the cancel culture mobs, stating at the film festival he was attending that no one was safe, which is the objective truth of the matter. These people are piss ants, following the trail of Reese to their potential victim and swarming. Just like with piss ants that don't have much in the way of actual brains, no amount of cajoling, convincing, or even hard evidence will deter them from their full outrage. The only joke here is the society that allows this shit to continue to happen. They gave these piss ants anything more than a look of disgust, and continued to play into this shit for far too long. The next Wednesday story is brought to you by Bounding into Comics, calling out the annoying shenanigans of pop culture every single day. This particular article is one more in the litany of sins being perpetrated against the beloved anime franchise, Cowboy Bebop. Now we have the showrunner trying to say that his live-action garbage is going to expand the canon. What Netflix and this motherfucker fail to realize is that nobody's buying what the fuck they're selling, except for the people with their heads shoved up their rectums to better savor their own farts. Nah, bitch. What you're doing is trying to replace the existing canon with your own dog shit, and trying to sell that shit as dark chocolate. Sorry, man, what you got smells like shit, and I ain't buying. Thursday was apparently a slow news day, and that I only have one story for you all. This one comes from Uprocks, and it talks about the feud currently going on between Joe Rogan fans and the fans of the has-been that I liked when I was 14, Howard Stern. This article, of course, was slanted heavily in Stern's favor because he's part of the pro-government cult now. Of course, you have the usual cabal of blue checks coming out in favor of Stern as well. Personally, I don't give a fuck what you do with your own body. That's between you and your doctor. Hear that, Susan? I simply feel you should have that freedom to choose what you do with it, and that's all I'll say on that particular matter. Howard Stern, in my opinion, should have stuck with Fart Man and paying prostitutes to walk down Fifth Avenue with tampons shoved up their noses. That was legitimately the only thing he had the intelligence to pull off. Friday has a couple of articles, though. The first one comes from Forbes and has Chris Pratt commenting on his rather controversial casting as Mario in a new animated film. Apparently, Americans of Italian descent are rather worked up over this. Personally, I think they'd be a bit more offended by Mario's stereotypical nature. I mean, after all, how do they know Chris Pratt doesn't have some Italian ancestry? Though, Chris Pratt seems to be excited for it, and is handling the criticism with his usual good nature. He seems like a good dude. Personally, I thought the entire casting choice was fucking weird as hell when I saw it. I would really love to know the names of the people that continue to give that douche canoe Seth Rogen work, though. For our final article of the week, we have what I'm trepidatiously regarding as semi-good news at this point. I figured I'd end out the segment on a relatively high note, you know? So it seems that the BBC is finally going to do something right for a change. I know. Shocking, right? I thought I was going to die of a coronary after I saw this one. So it seems they're bringing Russell T Davies to showrun Doctor Who again. The Russell T Davies era is, for me, arguably the greatest run of the current Doctor Who. For me, it's a toss-up between Davies and Moffat. I know there are people that don't seem to like Moffat, but they need to watch Day of the Doctor again. Particularly a beardy gentleman who used to own a comic book shop in San Francisco. That shit was epic. Now, this could just be the BBC trying to save themselves by pulling the old bait and switch to bring back fans by giving them Davies and still selling their woke bullshit. However, it could also be they've decided to actually fix shit. Not sure, and we won't know for at least another year because Dr. Karen and Chinballs are still there for about that long. So, yeah, what do you all think about these things? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that shiny red button if you want. It'll certainly give me a lot of pleasure if you do. Yes, I absolutely meant to do that and ran with it. If you would also smash that melee button, maybe share the thing. And I'll see you roundabouts on the next video. Peace.